How's it going, everyone? Just gonna wait for some people to get in here. So just gonna wait for some more people to get in here before I get started. And let's see here. How's it going? Get this chat popped out here. Yep, pretty decent. I'm going to be knocking this out before the kids come home, the loud kids. Today's just going to be one of the portfolio reviews. I was doing them every week, but now I am doing them bi-weekly or so. Oh, Dayton, nice. Yeah, that's about I think an hour away from me. I'm not sure, maybe an hour or two. I'm in Youngstown/Warren, Ohio. Oh, 73 people already. Nice. So basically today I'm going to be doing the live portfolio review, and you submit your portfolios by going to the Discord link here. It's in the description of this live video feed here on YouTube, and you join up. It's free, of course, and you go to the portfolio submissions page, and then you should simply just submit your link of your portfolio or your project that you've worked on for me to review. And it needs to be like a design review. I'm not going to be reviewing code or anything like that. So if it's something that you personally designed, be that any type of project, it doesn't have to be a UI design. It could be an identity design, a logo design, whatever, and you want feedback, I will give you feedback here. You just need to post it here, and I'll take them as they come in. So this is the first one here from Ice Space. And so I'll go ahead and check out the chat just so we can get maybe a couple more in here. And if I don't, I'll just scroll up. People are always submitting these portfolio reviews when I'm not actually live. All right, so let's go back here to this chat. Oh, also, I'll use this this time as a plug real quickly. Yeah, I haven't been doing a very good job of promoting my Patreon. I haven't really put much energy into this, but yeah, this is something you guys, if you're interested in supporting the channel and doing design challenges on a monthly basis, you can join up here. You can check out the tiers and what's offered as you wish. All right, so let's go ahead here, check this out. All right, awesome. Thanks, everybody. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm not sure how long I will be able to do this for, but because my children and wife they're coming home. Hopefully not within an hour. I think we'll be fine. All right, so let's go ahead and check out the very first entry. This is from Ice Space. All right, so let's get it up here. All right, let's refresh. See if there's any animation. Yeah, there is actually. Poo Rain. I thought it said Purple Rain, or short for Purple Rain initially. Okay, as we can see, we have some type of a vertical scroll slide-based thing happening here with some animation. It's a new design studio. Okay, not sure what I think yet. I need to see more. So let's scroll down here. I'm going to use my scroll wheel. Sometimes when it comes to these scroll hijacked sort of landing pages, when you're using a scroll wheel, it can act funky, but so far so good. Just going down here. All right, so I think I get the gist of it. This is kind of hard to read. This purple with this light font, lightweight font in terms of the thickness of the font against the black background, a little bit hard to see. I would either brighten that purple up or make it a heavier weight, first and foremost. A lot of lines happening here too. It makes it kind of, especially right here, I know there's a form here, that's why there's quite a bit of lines, especially combined with these lines. It's a little bit cluttered in that sense. It's kind of hard to, you know, identify the actual UI layout with that. Going up here though, I mean, obviously it is extremely simple. It's still, it has potential though, definitely. And I noticed one of the designs down here in the portfolio, I think I reviewed before. This one. So I know you submitted this before because I reviewed this. And this, you know what? This design right here, this layout that you have, just in pure design aesthetics, is a lot better than this one that I designed, as I recall. All right, so you're definitely progressing for sure. All right, thanks for that. All right. Well, we're already getting a lot here. Also, by the way, everybody, it looks like because I'm uploading at a time when there's more people watching, I will probably not be able to get to all of the reviews that you guys, or the websites and the projects you want me to review. If you absolutely really want me to review one, though, you can send it in a super chat, which is you just pay a small amount of whatever amount that you want to specify, and I will get to it for sure before I conclude. All right, let's check out the next one. And this is from Ligma. I'm always opening up these projects on a different browser just in case somebody's trying to troll me and like Goatsy or some porn pops up or something. All right, fortunately that's not the case here. It has never been the case, but I'm sure somebody will eventually. All right, so interesting. We don't have you know, the typical vertices, you know, that we've been seeing in every single submission that I've had. Although we do, it's interesting, yeah. I think that's okay. The way this is done, it's not too distracting for this background animation occurring. The colors works well. Click me or color me. Oh, okay. Kind of like a theme generator that's occurring here, and it seems random. Nice. Well, all of these that you're using are working very well, though. Good contrast and good color. All right, about portfolio. All right, that's fine. Let's check on and see what's happening here. All right, about section. Seems a little bit too empty right here in the space as you're scrolling down. So I would probably condense these a little bit more. For this, I would make sure the left of this first card starts with the left of portfolio. Unless you had buttons here or something for left and right. Otherwise, it doesn't. It just kind of throws off the flow of the layout, in my opinion, at least. So, looking at this, I like the card designs. These work pretty well. It would be nice to see this, for instance, to be more centered vertically between this element and these icons right here. There's a little empty white space there. Again, this is all small stuff. It seems like you have all the basics down for sure, which is the most important thing. All right, thanks for that. Let's check out this one. This is from Joseph, assuming that's how that's pronounced. All right, let's check this out. All right. I always like to refresh just in case there's animation I didn't see. And it's all loading here quite well. Okay, so this is yeah, we have the Bezier curves happening here, which is one of those 2018 design trends that's happening. It's pretty good. Seems a little bit ununiform, possibly. I'm not sure when it comes to placing those anchor points to try to get it to be really rounded and smooth. Seems like it might be a little bit, but really, no, this is fine. That's just me being a little bit nitpicky. You know what would be nice, though, is to maybe take this light shade right here and continue it all the way on the bottom. That way, it kind of more solidifies this top section from here. That's a small gripe, though. Let's move on. Oh, by the way, this right here, that's a cool animation, but it kind of just seems left there. It's just a little bit, they're really small. Maybe make them a little bit larger, and maybe put them side by side. Coming down here, this is way too small. I can barely read it, I think. So I definitely want to increase the size of this a bit. So for instance, let's go to here, and we'll just put font size. You have it at 12, 15 might be, yeah, it's definitely better. Line height, we can increase that a bit to like 1.4 EM. And this is definitely better in my opinion. On a larger viewport like this is 1920. You could probably afford to space this out a little bit more from the top and the bottom of this, and probably extend the width of this text a little bit more too, because you can see where this begins right here and this ends over here. Let's check out the card section. So this is definitely more of a contemporary approach to card design. As you can see, the text in the stuff that's overlapping on top. This is something, it's more of a really new trend. I think we're going to see this a lot more in 2019 particularly, particularly if I can talk, Jesus. I think it, again, this is really hard for me to read. Again, I'm on a 4K res monitor, and when you take a 4K res monitor and you put it at 1920, things become blurred, the pixelation for some reason. So I'm not sure if that's why I'm having a hard time reading it, but I think you could probably make it a little bit larger, just to be certain here. But I like the colors and all that. Projects, again, same thing. I would increase the size of this, size of that. Now it's starting to get a little bit cluttered here. There's kind of like it lacks a real solid layout. It's just a bunch of elements that are pretty close together on this resolution or this viewport. And they're just all centered and stacked on top of each other. So a way to remedy that is just space things out more so, especially on those larger resolutions. All right, we'll move on to the next. All right, so who is that? All right, right here. I'm going to check out this one. Ooh, we got some more Bezier curves. Let's see. Okay, Noe verification. Okay, this is overall I kind of like this area over here. It's a cool illustration that's occurring. I would probably take the gray elements, like these little lines around here. They're all over the place. And make them a different color. The gray doesn't really contrast well with this turquoise sort of color right here. I would either make it the same hue right here, except make it darker, and or you could go lighter with it. But as long as it's in the same hue, I think it would definitely work a little bit better. Also, it seems kind of scrunched in here in this container area, so I don't know if that could possibly mean maybe just taking everything, this whole entire, I assume this is a vector graphic, and just taking all these anchor points and push them over even more, maybe out here, and that way you have more room for this graphic. Because as you can see, it seems a little bit too blank over here when we have all this stuff happening over here. So I think it would really balance things out to move things over a little bit. Let's see what happens though if I go in on a smaller resolution. This works a little bit better because we're getting rid of that space, but on a larger one, again, I'm being kind of nitpicky. I actually like the colors and everything that you have. Good call to action right here. You can definitely see the navigation. Let's check this stuff. All right, this seems to work pretty well. I might do something like this just to create further separation and to reinforce the visual hierarchy between icon, the title right here in the description. I would take these paragraphs and maybe just make the color gray, and I think that works a little bit better. So if we refresh, this is what it was before. like that. So I think the gray will help that a little bit more. Other than that, everything's good, pretty good white space between these elements. Good stuff. Same right here. This is good. I would do that same gray thing over here. All right, this is pretty good. All right, overall, real solid. Yeah, just a small, minor things. I try to be nitpicky if I can't find much wrong. So that was the case here. All right, we got 204 people. I should definitely do these later in the day, for sure. All right, so let's check out the next one here. This is a site I made for a client, and I think I should improve contrast on any page and use space better on the country pages. All right, let's copy this. Let me real quickly check out the chat just to make sure everything's going smoothly and my mic didn't cut out or anything. Okay, good. All right. So let's check out this one from Sam. This is a site he made for a client. All right. And he's interested in contrast. Better space on the country pages. All right. For me so far, looking at this, the contrast is fine, at least at this point. Okay, so this is basically all there is on this section right here. Yeah, I don't have an issue with the contrast. The background, you could still see it's like a watermark background with a map here in the back. I like it. If you would have brought out the countries a little bit more, and if you made them brighter, it would make it hard to see. Then you would, the stuff on top of it, the copy on top, and you wouldn't want that. One thing I think that could be improved is this section down here. And I mean that in a very minor sense. It seems like it's large type right here for this placeholder text, and it's too close to the container here. So I would probably either decrease the font size or increase the padding that's inside of there in that section. That way it has a little bit more room to breathe. So I'm not sure if I try to change something here. There we go. We have padding 8 pixels. Now the right and left has 8 pixels, so let's try like 15. There we go. That's a lot better right there. So we just took down the font size from 1 and pushed this over a little bit more. So if I refresh, we'll see, again, very slight changes, but these slight changes make a big difference, even at a subconscious level. When people see good design, everybody can recognize good design, but it's hard to create it. And it's these small details sometimes that really get us. Down here on this larger viewport resolution, I would increase the padding from the top here of these elements. And so if we look here real quickly, we have padding. So you have 15 pixels on the top, but 70 on the bottom. Or wait, no you don't. One second here. Let me get back to that page here. I would increase this to like 30 or maybe 40. And it has a little bit more room to breathe here. Again, small details, very minor. Yeah, overall, quite solid. All right, let's check out the next one. And somebody's calling me. Yeah, I'm live right now. Oh, okay. I'm live. No, it's fine. All right, bye. Oh, my wife's calling me. All right, so let's check out the next one. That was Sam. This is the next one right here. Jam. Let's call you Jam. I'm not going to try to pronounce your whole name. All right. Okay. All right, so let's refresh. Okay, so we have no animation. Let me just look at things before I start giving a critique. Okay. All right, so the biggest issue here is in this hero section, where you have the very first thing people see, unfortunately. The rest of the stuff down here, with exception to this title, which I would definitely change. A lowercase, all lowercase, serif font usually doesn't work quite well. You have all the rest of your type is sans serif. So I would stick with sans serif for your titles. I mean, you can mix serif with sans serif, but you really have to do it correctly. So I would stick with a sans serif font up here, similar to how you have this. Yeah, and also, I mean, this education, this E was not capitalized yet. This is down here, so just some discrepancies. But down here, I mean, everything's pretty solid in terms of layout. But right here, it leaves some to be desired in terms of an actual layout. So everything, as we can see, is completely centered, and that's generally fine. But I'm not sure if I'm too much of a fan of having this in a container. It seems real boxy because we have a box around this part, then we have a box around the LinkedIn logo, and then we have another box right here, and they're all 3 different colors, and so it's just throwing things off a little bit. So I would try to rework this page right here in a different manner. And of course, I could try to throw out ideas, but the best way to do is just go to the UI or landing page gallery sites. There's a bunch. Just go to Google, type them in, and just try to get ideas based on what other people are doing. So yeah, like I said though, a lot of what I see here, you know, when it comes to the core fundamentals of design in terms of you know, white space, when it comes to contrast and color, scale, you're getting all of that right. It's just a few things in terms of typography, and also up there in this section right here, and I think it would be improved. I would also kind of improve this up here. I would probably, just be safe, just go completely sans serif. Let's check out the next one. All right. All right. What do we have here? Okay. Computer engineering student. I'm just scrolling down, slightly off-centered, skewed container. That's fine. It's very subtle. All right. So the first thing up here, I would say, overall, scrolling through this, there's a lot of lines. Everything's very boxy because you're reinforcing a lot of the elements, you know, with thick borders like this. I would probably get away from that, especially right here. You have an underline right here. And just in the icon, you have lines going all over the place, and you have this stroke over here. I would try to reduce those big time. You know, I think if depending on how you're doing things here, take this, find your border right here, and take this down. Hell, just get rid of it entirely because you're already doing this box shadow, drop shadow. So I would just get rid of those entirely. It already is improved in my opinion, but just doing that, it makes it less cluttered, less elements that the eye has to focus on. Up here, I would probably think of a different graphic for this, because you could tell you were cut out here. You can see the pixelation around your hair and such. I would think of something different. You can get yourself in here in a different manner if you want to show a picture of yourself. You know, one way you usually can't go wrong is just to have one of those circular you know, photograph sort of containers. Right here, the type, I definitely need to improve a couple things. So real quickly, this is the last thing I'll critique here. If we take, these should probably be all, you have 3 different separate H5 elements. You know, just make them all the same element. Just include all this stuff in here, and then just use the width to make it right here, or put them in spans or whatever to separate them out. But these need to be like brought together a little bit more so that you have more room for this paragraph text down here. So just rework the type here in the alignment and the spacing, and you would want to push this down. Oh wait, Yeah, you definitely want to push this down, like margin top, like 2.5 EM, like that. And that way you really separate your elements here a lot better. All right. Let's continue on. How long have we been going so far? 25 minutes. We're almost halfway done. Like I said, there's no way I'm going to get to all of these. So again, if you want me to definitely get to them, send in a super chat, and I will get to it before I'm done. All right, so let's continue on. Who is next? Right here. I'm going to load this off screen. All right, I'm not being trolled. That's good. All right, so it's just a very subtle animation occurring here. Overall, I like if I step back and I look at it, I like the colors that are happening here. It's good color in contrast. Oh, okay, there's an actual animation occurring on the background. That's fine, but when it comes to the symbol right here, when you get to that certain darker blue, as it's getting to now, you lose the symbol. So I would either just remove the color animation occurring on this container, or make the symbol white, and that way it will always contrast with what's happening back here. Next up, I'm not a fan of this bar up here. It just adds an unnecessary element. I know you're trying to put your information here, but centering it, I mean, if you're gonna have it, fine, but take these and push them over to the right or something like that. Also, space out your navigation right here in terms of horizontal space. They're really close to each other, so just space them out maybe about 2 or 3 times as much as what they currently are, at least on this viewport. Right here, we have 3 different elements. We have this, your name, obviously, which is the most important element. Then we have kind of like a sub-headline. So we have a headline, sub-headline, and then a description. You're not separating these out in an ideal manner. So let's go ahead real quickly, and I'll take this H5 here, and we'll get rid of the margin top that you have. And let's check our H1. Where's the margin bottom on this? Let me just go to margin bottom 0. All right, that's better. And then we're going to take this element and take the margin top from 15 pixels to like 45 pixels, maybe like 35 pixels. And then the color, let's grab this background and then maybe right around here. So that color is BCE OFF or 0FF. And this is better in my opinion. Just a better reworking in terms of the spacing and the color between these elements. You could probably still work on this a little bit better, but if I refresh, we'll see what it was originally. Take a mental snapshot of this section now, and this is what you had before. I think it's a little bit better with the changes I made. Again, not massive changes, just small changes. And I'm trying to do those objectively and not let my subjective preferences get in the way. All right, looking here, I would probably scale this text down a little bit. That way you create a more, you create a more definitive separation between these 3 elements. Scale it down just a bit more. You could possibly, instead of scaling it down, is lighten it up, not lighten that up, but change the color of this text slightly, sort of similar to how I did up here. On this larger resolution, as I'm working on a 1920 maximized browser here, I would give these areas more space vertically. So each of the, like this element, this container would take up maybe 40% more space than it is, because right now things seem kind of crunched down and cluttered in a sense, because they're really short together. Plus, we have uneven white space from the top of this element and the bottom of this element, and then we have this amount. So we have this small amount right here, but we have this big amount up here, and it kind of just throws things off. Like the animations that you have, it's nice, simple, and easy. All right, let's continue on. And just checking this out off screen. All right. Did you know the world's busiest? Okay. All right, let me scroll down. Okay, there is no scrolling. So let's check at the About page. Okay, so there's a number of things occurring wrong here, in my opinion. So let's start at the top. So the first thing is you have a home and about button way over here, and then you have a login and register button. I know these are just two slightly different types of elements you're linking to, like auth over here and then just general information. But you have all this space, you might as well just move the home and about right over here, in my opinion. And that way it will clutter the area less, and it'll designate, you know, more room and space for your logo that you have up here. After that, the did you know section, the way that it's kind of breaking outside of this container is not ideal. I would definitely move this into the same sort of container area. Plus, you're using a font that is 100% different than the font that you're using for the navigation links. And this font over here, I like this font. I would definitely just get rid of this element entirely right here. And I would include it as a part of this container right here, maybe underneath the home section and your description, and just get rid of this entirely. I think once if I just take this whole block right here and delete it, your design just improved big time, just by getting rid of the conflicting font and the typeface, and also it breaking out of the container. So also this background, this photograph that is basically just 100% photograph, not manipulated in such a way that it maybe it's like more of like a watermark. I would change that definitely, because it still makes this hard to read. The part of the wing right here going behind the text, it's still hard to read. Honestly, you know, it's good to try things. You know, if you design this from scratch, that's awesome. You should always challenge yourself, but definitely spend some time or more time looking at, you know, the daily UI sites or the landing page sites, especially when it comes to the hero section, which is a section that has usually a headline and sub-headline. It's the main part of a site's or an app's layout that is seen first, and try to get ideas in that regard. All right. Let's check YouTube here. Okay. Let's open this up. All right. Okay, still working on this portfolio. All artwork is created by me. Yeah, definitely. Hopefully something will go here that's quite prominent, like a headline, a sub-headline, maybe a call to action. This is quite in your face for sure. Let's just go down here and see what's happening. Okay, obviously not too much here to critique. The illustrations are cool. Up here, I can tell the Bezier curves on this part of the octopus leg, if that's what they're referred to as being legs or arms. It needs to be a little bit more smooth. I can tell that they are not 100% round, but that's fine. Again, this might be too extreme though. Like maybe I would condense these waves down a little bit more. That way you're gonna have more space up here eventually. But other than that, the colors all seem to work quite well. But again, you don't have it done yet, so there's not much for me to really give a solid critique. So thanks for submitting that anyhow. Let's check out the next one. All right. Extremely simple that we have almost, I don't know, maybe almost a little bit too simple, but that's fine because we have a massive amount of space here. I like that. Very cool. I almost always like to see if you have two columns to left align elements in the other column. It's just, I'm not sure if I want to call that a personal preference or an objective thing that you should do. I just think it helps the layout flow better for sure. Let's continue on here. Oh, I can't. There's no scrolling. Well, let's see if there's an About Me page. Okay, there is. All right. This part where it has a project, the background, where like right now when you're not hovering, I would definitely change that because you can tell it's a very light pink, and the light pink doesn't contrast well with this light blue back here. So I would probably just take these and make them, let's see, that's on the hover state. Let me just background white. Just make it white. And then you can still have your hovers if you want. But yeah, this definitely looks a lot better than this over here. So that's just a slight critique there. Also, the fact that you have a project and link and then a GitHub on two separate elements just clutters things more. Just put the GitHub link right next to the project link or something like that. And I would even make sure that these fit right into this container. So instead of there being two separate containers, you know, let's see here, right here, and you won't have a space here at all. There would be no space. It'll be completely white. I think that would work better and make it less cluttered because there's a lot of lines and objects happening here. It makes it hard to follow, especially with this black button here. So again, just some alignment issues here. You know, these two elements are left aligned, and then directly underneath it we have two buttons that are in two columns, but they're both centered, so they're not flowing well in terms of the layout. I would, you know, if you have all this room and you really want to use the maximum amount of room in this viewport, I would maybe move this over a little bit more, the contact, and you know, make them start where they kind of are, although this is kind of coming in a little bit. Make it start right here at the beginning of the C, and then make your buttons here start in that same area. I think it would flow better in my opinion. All right, thanks for that. All right, okay, what's happening here? Let's go down. All right, so a few things happening here that I think could be improved. That's interesting. You have a blur effect happening over here. Initially when I ran this, and it might be because I'm using a lot of RAM, it was a little bit jagged, probably having to blur this stuff out. But looking at this, this size, you could definitely increase this because look at all the space you have. It seems there is such thing as too much white space. A lot of times people don't have enough white space, but I think this is the opposite case here. I would definitely increase this. So you have two different elements here, but they're styled exactly the same font, the same color, the same weight. You have your, I would assume this is the name here, and then this is a subheadline, but they're not styled as such. So just to try to create, oh, they're all a part of the same element, unfortunately. But yeah, I would definitely make just your name, like a font size of, like, let's see, maybe like 70 pixels just for your name, and then the subheadline can stay maybe more around this size, and that way through scale, you can really separate those two elements in a visual manner. The portfolio, I would rather just see it like this by default. The hover state should be the default state, and it sticks out much more that way. Down here, I'm not sure if I'm too much of a fan of just having this this darker gray and then this light text over it. I would think about maybe reworking that a little bit. I think this is a light gray background. I don't think it's white. I can't really tell too much. Body. Yeah, the background color. Yeah, that may have been. But if you make it really light gray, you can take these containers instead. If you want to take this route and have this type of container, and possibly make them white and then make the foreground elements, you know, darker in a sense. And I think that would be better because it's too much of a big contrasting element right there in the center. But this still works a little bit better than that, in my opinion. Looking at this, the portfolios, portfolio thumbnails are pretty solid. All right, good white space between these elements on this viewport, so that's good. All right, down here, way too small for your email address. That should be clickable as like an ahref mail too. So I make this a little bit more prominent. But yeah, all in all, pretty solid. You have simplicity down, colors correct, and contrast is correct for the most part. So that's good. All right, let's check out the next one. Let me check the chats here before I begin with this one. All right, where are you at? Let me make sure. Oh, okay. All right, so I had a super chat come in, so they get priority. So I'm going to check out Heather's site right here. And I'm opening this up just in case you know what I mean. Okay. All right, cool. Oh, wait, she said something. Let me go check that out. Okay. All right. This is the site, heatherlockmadeit.com. All right. Overall, I have a pretty solid first impression here. Unconventional. We have the logo here situated to the right with the navigation on the left. I don't have too much of a problem with that. Let's see here. Please. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, this is I like the approach of the thumbnails here. One thing that's a little bit throwing me off is being that this is a sticky nav up here. It's taking up quite a bit of space. It might be a little bit better to take this right here and maybe either left align it to your symbol or right align it to it, or get rid of Heather Lock entirely, or put in about Heather Lock, and that way people know by default. And that way the whole purpose of this is to be able to scale this down a little bit, because it's taken about 15 to 20% of the viewport up here. We can see this is nice. If we can get it up to here, like right here, where all this stuff will start, that would be ideal. So you can either scale down everything and try to fit it in there, or just get rid of this or position it to the right or left of the logo. That way when we're coming down, especially right here, you have more space to view things, because it just feels claustrophobic when you start scrolling down. So let's click on one of these, see what happens. Okay, that's nice. Like I say, they're using view here for this. So it's a nice transition that's occurring here. Yeah, this is all solid. Again, just that small gripe about the navigation. Let me click on another one here. All right. It almost seems like something more could be done to really structure this section where we have a column here, and then we have a column here of content. You could either increase the size of this so that there isn't this big blank space over here. Just increase the size of these photos. Maybe crop them so that, you know, if you scale this up 1:1 ratio, it's going to be huge. It's going to take everything up. But you can use CSS methods to crop them so that this becomes more of a the height stays the same, but you can push it over to the right a little bit more. And then maybe give yourself a little bit more white space over here. That's another thing you could do, is just kind of put these in quite a bit. Maybe start the dark in right around here. And then this will push things over naturally in that manner. Again, very small, minor gripe stuff here. Overall, I like it. Awesome. Okay. About me, I'll check that out real quick. Yeah, you have a lot of space here, so I would just increase the space, the white space between this element right here and your text. And you can really, you know, do it by 5 times the amount that it currently is, because you have the space, at least on this larger viewport right here. So good stuff. Thank you for the super chat. Awesome. We have another super chat come in from Anton. Thank you. So I will check that out. All right. All right. Hi, I'm Anton. Okay, this is interesting. We have a sort of a container occurring here. Let's try light. Nice. So the light versus dark does work. A lot of people can get, you know, one or the other wrong. Yeah, this works pretty well. Let's see here. About me. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. May want to rework the colors a little bit here, because when we're getting into this darker gray, I can see there's a linear gradient going from here, from dark to light. When we're at this darker shade of purple, it's clashing a little bit. You don't see a real clear, distinct separation between the elements here, and just kind of throws off the design. So you could remedy that in a number of different ways, by either changing this up so that it will contrast more here, which this would have to become lighter in order for that contrast to come through, or change the background so that this can contrast more right here. This right here, you have more space. Take the line height and increase the line height a little bit. Let's check out my work. Definitely interesting, definitely unique here. I assume these just link out, obviously. Yeah, definitely you have the creativity part down pat. What would be real cool though, is to take some of these, if you can, and offset them so that part of it will, some of them will get larger. I can see like this one's larger than this one, but to really help encase the design more, take some of them, push them over, maybe make them a little bit larger, and some of them will get cut off on the edge here, maybe at the bottom. I think that would be cool. And in this contact section, I would definitely make all of these icons on the very, like maybe right here or right here in the middle, and they all start, instead of being centered, make them start on the very same column right here, because it kind of just gets it thrown off when you have an icon starting over here and then over, oops, I didn't mean to click that, over here, 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 and here. So just get those aligned so that they're not centered and they're just all starting where the container starts. All right. Also, I would try to maybe work in something else here, because you have your About Me, which is a little bit better than this, because this is it just seems like there's too much open space here. So you can do some other type of a background element, maybe some type of something like this, possibly, just to fill it out more. But yeah, definitely very interesting. And I can see you're using something here in terms of one of the JavaScript frameworks or libraries. Awesome. Thank you for the super chat. Hopefully I was able to help. All right. Next, let's go ahead and check out, I believe this is the next one right down here. And again, we've been going at this for 50 minutes, so I'm going to be done probably in 10 minutes. So if you did submit yours down here, like the many people who I'm not going to get to and you want me to do it, then I send in a super chat. I'll make time no matter what. So you have probably like 10 minutes to do that if you want to. Otherwise, you can wait a week or two until I do the next one. Try to be here. Let me get this out of the way. Let's see here. All right. So we have a lot to talk about on this one. First and foremost, it's hard to know where to focus because the background is quite involved. You know, you have it blurred out. That's good. But you have this element over here, which you have a background. You have a shadow that's being applied to it. So if I can figure out how I can remove that shadow real quickly, I think we'll immediately improve it. Because right now, if you're new to design, one of the things, it's hard, you know, it's a lot of beginners do it. They think they have to use every tool, you know, in the toolkit on their designs. I think that's what's happening here. We have a lot of glows. We have a stroke here. We have strokes up here. We have a slightly different background. We have some lines up here. We have strokes over here. Lines, the outer, the box shadow right here. Way too much stuff happening, especially when you're using a background like this that's real, you know, it's very photographic and there's a lot of stuff happening. So definitely simplify things for sure. So like that right there already helps a million times. Getting rid of that shadow helped big time. So definitely get rid of the glow right here. That feels like the late 90s. A lot of people were doing this, and you know, back then. So get rid of that. Try to simplify things more. And there's so much happening here. I like the animation. That's cool that you did that. But there's so much happening here in terms of glows and just things that you probably shouldn't do that I would suggest highly. And by the way, very soon I'm going to be releasing a brand new course for Adobe XD 2019, which is releasing in like less than 2 weeks at Adobe Max. And it's going to be like a 5-hour course where I go over every design aesthetic. So it's going to be aimed at, you know, beginners and intermediates for sure, to try to really get into next level stuff when it comes to creating UI designs that are really modern looking. So that's just my plug. So what I would say for you until then, because I know you're going to buy that course, is go to those landing page UI gallery sites and get ideas from those. Landing page, gallery, or inspiration, I don't know, something like that. You're gonna come, there's landbook.com, that's a popular one. There's landing folio. Just take your time, look at these, see the elements that they have, some of these that you like or that are popular. And try to gain inspiration from those. Don't copy them, but just see what the pros are doing. And also as an exercise, do copy them, but don't be releasing these projects. So like I mentioned several times before, and in my latest video from yesterday, I copy things just as a practice. Get in your whatever your UI design app is, XD, Sketch, whatever, Illustrator, I don't care. And just copy these pixel for pixel, and that will help cement, you know, what it is to create good design in muscle memory, so that when you go to create your own project, you know, that muscle memory, just subconsciously, it's going to be there, and it's going to help your design tremendously. So yeah, definitely do that. There's a lot of stuff that you could improve here. Let's go on with another one. Okay. All right, so we have 2 more super chats, and they did not mention a site or anything, so let me check down here and make sure nobody mentioned that they just sent a super chat. Let me check this section right here. Melvin, where is your site? if you wanted me to do one, yeah, make sure you mention that here. And then also you as well, Pre. Okay, I'm just gonna type in their names just to make sure they didn't mention the site somewhere. Other than that, thanks a lot. I'll be sure to check those out though. Oh, Melvin is typing down there. There we go. There we go. Let's open that link. Thank you for the super chat. Let's check this one out. All right, let me get this stuff off here. All right, again, I'll probably have 5 more minutes. If you definitely want me to do a review, send in a super chat. I don't care how many come through, I will get them done. But if I don't, these will probably be the last 2 that I do. All right, so looking at this, Melvin, let's refresh this. Nice, I like the animation. It's subtle enough, and then everything kind of fades in after the important elements come in. Let's check this out. I like the animation, and I like how you're kind of placing it there. I would, especially on this larger viewport, you know, I would push these down. Let's see here. So if I just type in margin top, there we go. And then maybe also push down these links right here by like 4 EM. And then maybe even make these a little bit gray so that they don't compete quite as much with this important stuff right here. I would do that. So this is what it looked like before. And well, if you want to rewind afterwards, you can see there's definitely an improvement there. Small, minor stuff though. Very simple. I like the color that you have here. It's used very sparingly. Let's check out the rest of the section. All right, JavaScript, Laravel, and React. I would push this down more from the title, just because we have a lot of space right here and then not much space right here. So separate those out a bit more. All right, we got parallax happening here. It works. I like the little background elements that you have right here. May adjust those a little bit, the actual vector graphics, so that they don't go over some of the important parts of the text. That's a minor gripe though. No, but I like mostly pretty much almost everything that I see here. This part is so devoid of anything, which is fine. You could possibly add to it though, like with a very, very, very subtle background of some sort. That could be a photograph, or that could be something that's vector, just to help fill out the design a little bit more, just because, you know, it's so empty here. But again, that could be just a subjective preference of mine. I like it overall. Thank you for that. All right, and let's check out the next one. I want to see if the other person sent anything yet. Oh, here's his. I will check your edits, Heather, after this. That's very quick though to be doing these edits while I'm doing this. All right. Okay, so first thing, I like this. You know, you have your name quite large, but the hello I am, I would definitely not make that transparent like you do. Just leave it 100% like this one, because it kind of clutters it a little bit too much, in my opinion. I may even take these down a notch in terms of opacity, so that they don't contrast quite as much, although it's not that bad. I may definitely get rid of the drop shadow though. I think it would be 1,000 times better if these were just solid colors, still interacting as they do in terms of the opacity, but the drop shadows I would get rid of. Coming down here. All right, pretty good separation. Yeah, this is one of those cases where it's a good mix of serif, or sans serif rather, and serif. I would probably take this down. Well, no, that's fine. This works. This works actually pretty fine. Let's go down here. All right, these work pretty well. All right, we'll check cool stuff here. I would do cursor pointer on these for sure, these elements. So the CSS property, cursor property with a pointer value. Yeah, these are quite large on this resolution, but yeah, I might scale things down just a tad bit, just because they seem really large. Like, you could get away with putting, you know, at least 3 of these containers by each other, or even 4 possibly, and that way we don't have to scroll so much just to see content here. Yeah, same thing with the these links here, probably scaling down a bit. Other than that, everything else here seems to be pretty solid. A lot of drop shadows. I'm just not a fan of them. But yeah, overall solid. You're getting a lot of the fundamentals correct, which is, for the most part, contrast and color, white space, visual hierarchy, in the sense that, you know, you're using design aesthetics such as font weight, scale, and size to really reinforce these different elements. That works. Your typography is pretty solid. So yeah, just an issue with scale, I would say, on the cool stuff in the Get in Touch page. Yeah, pretty solid. Cool. Let's continue on here. It's already an hour and 2 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, font didn't load. All right, I see that. I was just gonna say I would probably choose a different serif font, but I decided not to. So that's why. Okay, that's fine. We understand. We're not going to judge you. So yeah, that is going to be it for me for now. It's been over an hour already. So yeah, 250 people are here. That's awesome. So yeah, we'll do this possibly next week. If not next week, then the week after for sure. You guys can always go in. Oh, wait, I forgot. I told Heather I would do her redesign right here. Let me get that up. Okay, so now things aren't so... Okay. Let me refresh this. Yeah, you could just still left these as large, or maybe not quite as large. That way we could scroll down. But this is I would say this is an improvement, because this is now only taking up about, I want to say, 12% of the viewport. So if I click on one of these, let's see what happens here. So now it's not consuming as much space. Still though, if I go back and I get out the inspector here and we check out the padding here, change that from 35 pixels to 20 pixels, and then where is the container itself? Trying to see where this padding is occurring, because ideally we would want this right here to move up to right around here, so you can even take it down more so. But still, if not, that's fine. It's definitely an improvement over what it was before. So yeah, for sure. Let's click on one of these. Something happened here, I think, when you edited stuff, because obviously you want these to be larger, but I think you scaled something down for the homepage and it started affecting this area here But either way, the navigation part definitely improved. Awesome, awesome stuff. All right, thanks a lot again, everybody, for attending and checking out the live stream. So yeah, the next one, like I said, will be probably either next week or the week after. You guys can always go ahead and hang out in the Discord server. So I'm always there. You guys can hit me up there, whatever. People are always chatting here in the general, and if you want to submit tutorial ideas that you want me to, you want me to try to cover for the YouTube channel, you can do that here. You can see there's a lot of stuff people suggested already. You can check out the collabs, projects if you want to, share your projects that you're working on. Q&A ideas, always do Q&A stuff, suggestions, and blah, blah, blah. So, one final plug, as I mentioned, I'm trying to get this going a little bit more, just 8 Patreons. But check out patreon.com/DesignCourse, where I do design challenges once we can actually get enough people to participate. And yeah, all right, that's it. So thanks for watching, and I'm going to conclude this live stream. I hope to see you guys in the Discord server. See you later.